When I'm right now, literally, as that lovely lady was being brought backstage and put out here only a couple minutes ago, which was amazing, by the way. Let's clap it up for her one more time. As amazing and sweet and such a moment as that was, I still was on my phone replying to somebody on Twitter that had a question. To me, I have an obsession, and it is an obsession to transfer, in this time that I have with you, a religion, because it is a religion. To me, the greatest customer experience is actually caring about the customer. Yes, he's right, Mom. I see you. That's exactly the game. There's only one game. Whoever cares about the customer the most wins. Either you spend time developing your resellers or you don't. Either you put in time and those hours and you have those calls and you meet with them face to face and you do Skypes and you do whatever you can, or you just play a game of numbers and you're just trying to get as many people in and you don't care about them, and thus you create the vulnerability of them going elsewhere. For me, what's so important and incredible is this was invented. Every one of you have this. You like the phone? This was invented. It makes me smile and laugh at how many people here are not fully using this yet, have not fully understood that this is the most important thing in our society. You may not like it. We did not grow up with it. I did not grow up with the internet either. I was 18 years old before I ever went on the internet. But the reality is, if you do not understand that this controls the attention of the people that you're trying to reach every single day, then you are making an emotional decision of not liking technology, not a rational business decision. This is where attention is now being played out. This is where you have to be the best in the world to advance your business. This is also the place where somebody who hasn't been doing this for 15 or 20 years, doesn't have your experience, can walk into and in 24 months create control and create enormous scale and real competitive advantage against you. This is the variable. So for me, when I was growing up, first it was the signs, then I sold sports cards. They're ironically making a huge comeback now in China and the United States, basketball and football cards. And as I'm watching this, it reminds me of when I was 14 and 15 years old, where I feverishly looked at the table that I had at every show and would change where the products would go. I would walk the show and try to figure out what prices and what offerings were the other dealers doing. I was listening. And I will tell you that one of the #1 things that every single person here can do, whether that is on Weibo and WeChat in China, or Line in Japan, or Facebook and Instagram, whatever the platform is, right now, the amount of talking that customers and partners are doing on these platforms and giving us what they're interested in, what they care about, and your ability to read that. This is not some massive data scheme to get people's information. This is 1930s, good old-fashioned, sit down and have a cup of tea and listen to the customer and then do something about it. As technology grows in our society, the behavior of our grandparents is the thing that will most likely build our businesses. The true reality in this room is that we need to use technology to get us closer to human interaction. Technology is not replacing human interaction. Technology is now the gateway to human interaction. It's true. We live, and this is a very global audience, and I have offices all over the globe. My friends, we live in a time where we as people demonize technology. We see what's bad in it, the shortcomings. The reality is, let's remind ourselves, everybody here is in this conference in a business mindset. This is the context of business. That is what we're doing in this room. As it goes for business, the technology advances of the last 15 years have been the greatest acceleration for everybody in this room to be able to get what they're looking for. That is a remarkable feat. I want to remind everybody that this phone in everybody's hands is more powerful than the computer that Ronald Reagan had running America during his presidency. This is a remarkable situation. And so here's what I've got to say. I'm going to give you a very simple story that is very important for the context of this room because it talks about mindset and going on the offense versus going on the defense. If you think about everything you've heard, right? All of it around customer experience is predicated on one mentality. Did you come to Utah and spend some time to go home and do nothing about it or do something about it? It's really that simple. To me, it's just one simple game of are you going to go on the offense or will you just leave, be motivated, be excited, but then just go back to your same behavior. As somebody who writes a lot of books and puts out a lot of content and does this speaking quite a bit, most remarkable for me is what happens between the way you feel right now and next Tuesday. Right? Right now it feels good. Right now you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and I've got this other idea. I'm about to spit 20 minutes of ideas that I think you should be doing in 2019 that are working to get sellers or to have customers in the end. The problem is, thank you, the problem is, I'm trying to make sure that I set up the mental foundation of that first, because I can give you the tactics, but for example, 90% of this incredible conference right now, 90% are too scared to make a video with them in it because they worry about what somebody's going to say in the comments that they don't look good, or their makeup's bad, or they are stupid. 90%. The biggest singular variable that is stopping people in this room from going to the next level, whatever that level is for them and how they see it, is strictly insecurity. Strictly the fact that the majority of human beings in Earth right now are not doing things because they're worried about the judgment of strangers and people they don't even know. The greatest opportunity in the history of business is producing content on the internet on the 15 platforms that are winning globally. WeChat, Facebook, Instagram, Weibo, Line, Snapchat, LinkedIn, YouTube. The greatest. Let me remind everybody here that the platforms charge nothing for the content to be distributed. This is not buying a booth at a conference and paying $5,000. This is not buying a newspaper ad in your local. This is free. Now, you can run ads, and when ads are underpriced, I always recommend it. For example, how many people here have an Instagram account for their business? Raise your hands. You're using Instagram for your business. Raise it high. I want to see. Actually, stand up. Stand up if you're using Instagram for your business. Don't be lazy. I want to see it. I want to see it real quick. Don't be lazy. I saw some of you raise your hand. Okay. Keep standing for a second. It's good for your blood circulation, so stand up if you're in it. For everybody who's standing, I'm going to give you a tactic. This comes from the CEO of the largest independent advertising agency. We spend hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising and see the results across all businesses. Plus, I, as a human being, am producing the most content on social media in the world. I produce almost 100 pieces of content a day across all these platforms. If you are standing, the number one thing that you have to do when you go back on Monday is you have to run a Instagram story advertising, right? So there's regular Instagram, and then there's stories, right? Like if you're standing, you know Instagram, you know that there's the stories. Right now, you can go, and by the way, if you don't know how to do it, there's an incredible website that will teach you everything on how you do it. You can write it down, I see a lot of that. I'll spell it. It's G-O-O-G-L-E. All you have to do is type that website in, go to it, and type in, how do I run an Instagram story advertising? You hit enter, they'll show you. Here's why I'm telling you to do it. You can sit down now, thank you. My entire career has been based on one massive principle, followed by a second. Number one, acquire underpriced attention. Let me say it again. Acquire underpriced attention. Find where the people are, where they're looking, and then get it. And so, for example, 6, when I launched an e-commerce wine business for my dad's one-store liquor store in New Jersey, that was an evolution. That was going on offense. Nobody was doing that 23 years ago. But the reason it grew was because I started an email newsletter and nobody was doing that. How many people here by show of hands have an email newsletter? Use email. So for the ones that raised their hand, I had 90% open rates in 1996. 90% of the people that got the email looked at it. Today, if you're in the 20s, that's remarkable. That was underpriced attention, because in 1996, as anybody here who had email, and I tell you, we read every email. Now we do not. Because the one thing I know more than the sun will come up tomorrow is that marketers ruin everything. It's what I do for a living. So, the other thing that I did for underpriced attention was I bought Google AdWords the day it came out. The day it came out, it was 5 cents a click for any word. It quickly went to 10 cents a click. I bought the word wine, Cabernet, Napa Valley, Italy, Brunello, Chianti, Bordeaux, all of them for 5 cents a click. I was getting tons of customers because my competitors were doing direct mail. My competitors were making catalogs. My competitors were running ads on the radio, and I was playing on the internet. And in 5 short years, with no money, there was no bank loan, there was no investing. In 5 years, I took my dad's business from a $4 to a $60 million business, because every penny I spent was acting like $1. And the reason I didn't let you guys clap for me is I have a very big story to tell you here right now. No, I don't want you to clap. Let me explain. You're about to boo me. I want you all to boo. And let me explain why. I grew that business from $4 to $60 million like this. But it should have been 200. Let me explain. Even though I was buying Google AdWords and doing web and email, I was still spending money on newspaper, radio, direct mail. Had I been smarter or more experienced, I would have taken all the money, because when I look back at the history of the data, it was Google and email that was building my business, not newspapers, radio, and television. You understand? So that story feels good to me. It's a nice accomplishment. It's nice to build a business that was large for my parents. But the reality is, it should have been much bigger. I just wasn't experienced enough. Today, you get the luxury of me being 20 years later experience. For everybody who stood up, this is not a debate. This is 100% facts. Instagram ads in stories are so underpriced. You can buy them for $2 to $3 to get in front of 1,000 people, and they will see it. The fact that you can do that right now, that price will go up very substantially over the next 2 to 3 years, because everyone's going to do it. And then it will go up. That's what always happens. That's what happened on Google. That's what happened on Facebook. That's what happened with KOLs in Asia. It always goes up when there's more demand. So, for everybody who stood up, please understand Google in-story advertising. And now let me tell you the most important part. The reason I will get 10 emails from this room in 2 months will be the following. 6 will say that I'm a genius and they love me and it changed their business because of this one tactic. That will happen. 4 will say I'm an idiot, stupid, and they hate me. But here's why. What I'm telling you to do is 100% right. The problem is, the video you make or the picture you make is the variable if it will be successful. Getting ready for this event, I went on social media and looked at everybody who was posting with this hashtag or in this ecosystem. 90% of the content was garbage. And let me tell you why I think it was garbage. It was self-serving. It was either building the facade of a ridiculous lifestyle that is selling a dream that is not achievable if you don't put in a lot of work. It was me, sign up with me. It was bringing no value to the audience. It was selfish. It was selfish. It was short or selfish. It was fast or me. All of the opportunity, all of it is when you make content for them and you talk about slow. I understand, especially in this ecosystem, that the lifestyle and the dollars and the passive and the freedom is such a selling point. It is also the biggest reason most people don't come in because it's over hyperbolized and it feels big. Period. You know it, I know it. And so for me, in an unbelievable passion to bring value to this audience today, please understand the following. Is the religion that you need to play in. For example, when was the last time you sat down and just called all of your sellers one by one and just said thank you? Just that. Just that. Just actually that. Instead of hunting, how about we take this talk and actually start talking about the real customer experience, which is farming. It is farming. We are so hungry for the next person into our ecosystem, we take for granted the 100 that are already in it. So many of you, if I sat down and had dinner and analyzed your business, it's the fact that you're losing people faster than you're gaining them is your vulnerability. It's not your inability to get more people in, it's your inability to keep people you have, and all you need to do is give a crap. That's right. Woo! I wish you could zoom in. I don't know if you can zoom in. I don't know how this works, but if you could see it, the amount of goosebumps on my arm right now, and I'll tell you why. And I will tell you why. I know, as I stand in the middle of this circle, I know that sheerly just going back, just going home, first of all, let me give you another tactic. Every person that you have on your selling team, you should follow them on every single social network, and you should watch a human being. If you find out that they're a huge Messi fan, the great soccer player, and you send them a jersey for $80 for them with a note and saying thank you for being part of my team, that person will stay with you for 6 years, not 6 months. Depth is the experience. Everyone's looking for the hack. How do I get more? What's the algorithm? How do I go wide? Blast. It's depth. It's slow. It's tried and true. It's all the things that nobody wants to tell you about business, but I know, and I look around, and luckily, because I have them too, I see some wrinkles in here, I see some gray hairs in here, and when I see them, and I'm looking at a lot of different faces, from the youngest to the not youngest in the room, and I see you, I know you know. You have the experience. I know you know that this is a depth game, not a width game. It's not fun to know. A lot of people want it fast. But the reality is, as social media penetrates our society, and people start looking at other people and start getting FOMO and want to be like them, and want to be at the same concerts or the same trips or have the same clothes, to me it's the reverse of that. It is tuning that out, having no interest in what anybody else has, and completing on one thing: your consumer, your seller. 100%, not 99, not 98, and especially the one you currently have. To continue the story, my career took a huge change in 2006. I built this huge business. I was right about underpriced attention, and then I was sitting at my desk, and one of my employees mentioned a product on the web that I was very fascinated by. And I looked at it, and in 2 minutes I fell in love. And that website was called YouTube. And so 4 months after YouTube came out, I decided to start a show. I decided to sit in front of a camera and drink wine, which was a good idea. What was a better idea is it was the first time that I realized content, not advertising, could drive my business. I sat in front of that camera and I tasted wine, but I did something very strange, something that confused everybody. I legitimately would taste wine that I was selling, and I would tell people on the other side of the video to not buy it, because I thought it was not good. This completely caught people off guard. But what I realized intuitively in 2006, and now I know in 2019, is the person that brings the most value to the audience wins, even if they have short-term pain. And so yes, I wasn't selling as many of those wines, but however, when I truthfully loved the wine, that wine sold quite well, because over 2 to 3 years of telling the truth, the number one thing that everybody wants in here, which is trust. And so I did that. I can tell you right now that one of the biggest business growers for everybody in this room, actually, let me go back before I get to the punchline, let me ask a question. By a show of hands, and raise it high because I want everybody to see it, how many people here now listen to a podcast? Raise your hand if you listen to a podcast. Raise it high. Thank you for the lights are awesome. Put up the lights. I want everybody to see this. Raise it high if you listen to a podcast. This is very important. Keep it up, Now, keep it up, please. If you were not listening to a podcast 5 years ago, drop your hand. Look at this. One more time. Listening to a podcast now? Not listening to podcasts 5 years ago. No. My friends, what you just saw is why I build $100 million businesses. I understand what people are doing. Now let me get to the punchline. The number one thing, not number 2, not number 3, forget about Instagram story ads. The number one thing that can drive the business of the majority of people in this room is if they start a podcast tomorrow. Now, I know a lot of people just heard that and said, how? That sounds hard. I'm boring. What do I do? What do I say? Let me tell you why a podcast is one of the most remarkable things everybody can do here. Let me set it up for you. First of all, it's 3-pronged powerful. Number 1, you have a podcast and you're in the game. Now let me explain. If you just have a very small podcast around business in your country, in your state, around this business of just being a female entrepreneur, of being a 3rd-generation entrepreneur, an immigrant entrepreneur, however you want to position it, go narrow. Because the reality is, you only need a couple hundred people that you want. You don't need 1 million people listening that you don't want. So you go very narrow. Number 2, it's the easiest. You know why podcasts are the easiest? You get guests on, you ask them questions, and you're done. You have to do nothing. You literally have to ask 6 basic questions. Which gets me to number 3. When you have a podcast, fancy people want to be on it. Your ability to reach out to 100 people that you would love on your podcast that maybe you want to do business with, you would struggle to get the CEO of this organization to maybe interact with you because he or she is busy. But if you invite them to a podcast, you would be stunned how quickly their communications person says yes. When you have a person on your show as a podcast, you also then get to run advertising against their fans, which brings more attention to you. It is a triple threat. You get a podcast, you can film, and then chop it up and put it on LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook and WeChat, so now you have content, and you get the audience that is a fan base of your guest that has never heard of you. I understand that if you're sitting in this audience and have never made a podcast, it feels heavy. It's actually scary how easy it is to do a podcast just on your phone. You don't need a fancy set. This is a gorgeous production. Let's clap it up for the production. This is a to-do. You don't need need that for your podcast, especially not for episode 1. For episode 1, you've got this. And if you need step-by-step help on how to create podcasts, there's a remarkable website for that. Good job. And I mean it. And by the way, if you're like me, and you're very bad at reading and keeping information, the number 2 search engine in the world is called YouTube. And you can go on YouTube and type in how to set up a podcast, and there are 8,000 videos that step-by-step, within 20 minutes, for no money, will have you in the podcast game. And then if you're a grinder, see, so much of my advice requires work. You know, okay, so now you hear me and you want to do a podcast. Now you have to email 100 people and you have to do it individually so you say something that makes them say yes to be on your show. I get millions of emails a month. 90% of them are bulk emails. They get deleted immediately. It's only the ones that are actually human that give me a chance to actually do something. So, podcast, Instagram. Now let's go into the place that I think is the number 1 place right now, and it could change tomorrow. It is not what I thought 2 years ago, because what I do is I day trade attention. It's right now. A year from now, it may not be. It definitely was not 18 months ago. But right now, as we sit here, the number 1 place I think that you should be making content to acquire sellers. It is called LinkedIn. I am astonished on what's happened on LinkedIn in the last 2 years. It has gone from a global platform where people do recruiting to a place now where content is being consumed at scale. LinkedIn today is acting like Facebook in 2012. And what's fun about talking about new things is, for example, these 2 women in the corner here who've been remarkable in their reactions, thank you. As I just brought that up, they're kind of looking at each other, it's interesting because what's fascinating is, actually, that yellow book, if you all look at that right now, my yellow book, thank you. So what's interesting about my last book called Crushing It, I only wrote it 18 months ago, and the book was about every platform and what you should do on it. You can't see because it's small, but this is crazy. LinkedIn wasn't even in the book. I wrote about Musical.ly, which is for 12-year-old girls in America and China, and I didn't write about LinkedIn. In that 18 months, which is not a very long time, I stand here today and tell all of you to your face, it's the number 1 place to acquire sellers. Now, if your post is about cash and Lamborghinis, I don't think you're going to convert as well. And I know you love cash and Lamborghinis. But if you sell the truth, which is if you put in work, and you're patient, and you bring value, maybe you can build something. If you put out content about how you did it, your story. People always ask me, what do I talk about? Start with your truth. How'd you get it? Why? What's worked? What hasn't? You've got a week's worth of content right there. LinkedIn is the only place right now that you can go, have no followers, 0, post a thoughtful, good piece of content, and have 25,000 people. LinkedIn, right now. And what's exciting is it changes, right? 2011, 12, if you go to YouTube and watch my keynotes, all about Facebook, 24/7, because it was so underpriced, the attention. And it worked. And I know a lot of you took advantage of it, and a lot of you didn't. And now you regret it. I promise you, if you do not heed my call for LinkedIn in 4 years, when you see a piece of content from me saying LinkedIn is dead and the great 4 years is over, you will regret it. Because you're in this room right now. The reason you fly from all over the world to come to an event like this is to either A, get your strategy and mentality right, or B, pick up on actual tangible tactics. I want to give you both. I'm in the clouds and the dirt. I'm in the clouds and the dirt. I know that I'm giving you tactics for the last 20 minutes, and I know that the biggest thing on my mind as I stand here is the fact that so many of you are not doing certain things because of the relationship you have with your mother and father and their judgment. The clouds. To me, that's so fascinating. I'm so the beneficiary of parents that built self-esteem and did not create entitlement. Most people are edged one place or the other. They're suppressed by their parents because misery loves company, and unfortunately that happens, and then they become insecure and think they can't because they told they were can't. Or they're all the way over here, and their parents created entitlement. How many people here are parents of 15 to 22-year-olds? Raise your hand. Just want to get a sense. Okay, I'm going to spend 2 minutes on this. I get 2,000 direct messages on Instagram. Thank you. 2,000 direct messages on Instagram a week from 15 to 25-year-olds, and the number one complaint is that their parents are paying for too much stuff. I know. It's super interesting. We are living through a very interesting time where we are creating fake environments for children because we're over-coddling them and we don't want them to deal with adversity, which that makes them completely incapable of dealing with real life when they leave. This is becoming a massive epidemic, and I wanted to spend 1 minute on it for all the parents that raise their hands. Please understand that losing is your child's best friend. Losing. And this generation of parents that over-coddle and try to protect and 8th place trophies are creating a huge vulnerability. And more importantly, what bothers me is all of the business contemporaries I have, all they do is complain about millennials, and they're the parents that raised them. Very funny who complains about millennials. The people who made them. Entitlement. And that is a segue to where I want to go about business. You are not entitled to anybody signing up with you. Woo! It's a big deal. I'm glad I picked up on it. I have no idea who you are, but thank you for that share. You are not entitled for anybody signing up with you. You are not entitled to anybody buying your product. There's a million options. I actually believe one of the great vulnerabilities of this collective industry is we talk too much about the lifestyle and not enough about the product.
Yes.
For everybody that's here as a leader and made the commitment, you need to be great at both. It needs to be a 50-50 game on a bad day. And we all know, it's 80-20 lifestyle over product. You know it, and some of you are 100-0, because I took the time to look at your content. So, in a continuous pace that I'm trying to do in this talk and hit a lot of different subjects, I beg you to understand that you're only as good as your product. You are only as good as your product. In today's world, in this world, you're competing against everything. Not just what you think you're competing against, with the stuff that is on the store shelves, on the stuff that is on Instagram direct to consumer, on the stuff that WeChat KOLs are selling every day. You're competing against everything. And you not creating content about the product is your great vulnerability. Please heed that call. Content. It comes in many forms. One of the biggest things I'm concerned about is people are crippled and don't know how to make it. So I'm going to spend a few times on that. Content comes in many forms. Written, audio, and video. You do not have to be like me, ridiculously charismatic and handsome. You do not have to. The only thing you have to be like me is you have to be self-aware. I knew that I couldn't write. I was a very bad writer, and I appreciate you holding up my book. Without Stephanie Land, my ghostwriter, who takes my words and puts them into sentences, that yellow book does not exist. I am a good talker. I am good on video. I love audiences and people. I was self-aware. So, the greatest era of frustration for me in the last 25 years in business and making content was 2002 to 2006, when the number one thing you could do was blog. Blogging was the game, and I stood on the sidelines. It was devastating. I knew it was happening. I didn't have enough money to hire a writer, and that's just what it was. And I had to wait, and thank God YouTube came along, and then I got back in the game. For you in this room today, you have to understand, if you do not make content for this device, you will become irrelevant. And on you being here, based on my intuition, on your ambition, the content a day. That's right. Some people are producing one piece of content a month and think they're doing it. 20 to 30 a day. Now, how? First, it starts with self-awareness. You have to know how you communicate. For example, you have a good business idea, you have a good thought, maybe for some of you, you just hit the memo, the recording button on your phone, and you just talk, you save it, and you just post it. Just the audio. Others in here are very different than me, and they're great writers, and you can write 2, 3, 4 paragraphs on LinkedIn and get that audience. For others, it is video, but it doesn't have to be a fancy camera like this or great lighting. It has to be your camera on you before you get a D-Rock or this and that. You can just do it yourself. I'm telling you right now, and I'm telling you emphatically, if you are not producing content, if nothing else, back to getting on the exercise trail, just produce one piece of content a day. Just start. And if you're at 1, go to 2. And if you're at 2, go to 4. And if you're 4, go to 8. When you start understanding, there's a really interesting thing I put out on the internet that's been downloaded millions of times. It's not here. You know what? If you guys text me at that number, tomorrow I will send out the link for this deck that I made. I made a deck. Oh, by the way, I apologize. That is only working in the US now. So if you're international, you can go to Facebook or you can email me. Or you know what? If you actually, you know what I'll do? However you do it, tomorrow I will put everywhere I put out content a link to this deck. It's called the Gary Vee Content Model. It's 80. You liked it, right? It was good. It was good and free. I'm free like that. And so it really showed people how I do it, how I record one thing, but then I get 100 pieces of content out of it. I know you're busy. I know there's other things. Plus, I want you doing things that take time. Think about this. I want you to make content, and I want you to call every one of your sellers and tell them you love them. Yeah. Takes time. Takes time. But in a world where everybody's trying to figure out the algorithm, or the AI, or the system, or the hack, the secret is, it's the old school stuff. It's the, hi Jan, you know, just want to thank you for being on my team for the last 2 years. How's Corey? Because you know who Corey is because you're paying attention. Great, have a good day, bye. That phone call makes them stay on your team for 2 more years than they would have if you didn't make it. You'll pay to bring yourself here and invest in yourself. But do you take your 5 best sellers out to dinner every 3 months? Or more importantly, because I know you all take care of your best sellers, what about the tier under that? What about the fact that every business I've helped grow actually is in tier B and C, not tier A? What about the fact you're spending 100% of your time on tier A, and now you're at the mercy of tier A? Instead of developing tier B and tier C to amortize it so you're not at the mercy of tier A. All that extra time you spend on your top 5 or 10 sellers because you're scared to lose them because they control too much of the business is defense. You should have been on the offense and building up B and C, and now you have 80 great sellers, and now all of a sudden 1 or 2 don't matter as much, correct? My friends, this is a story. This keynote is a story about the new and the old. I don't play in the middle. Most people do. The new is TikTok, LinkedIn, and text messaging platform, and making content, podcast, the new. The old is taking people out to dinner, writing a letter and saying thank you, phone call, caring, listening, spending 2 hours a day with following every one of your sellers and seeing what they're about and seeing that their uncle passed away and you spent $83 to send them flowers and a note. It's the old. It's the thing your great-grandmother wished you were doing. And on the other side, it's what your great-great-grandson hopes you are doing too. I play on the edges. The edges are just like a bridge. You know why bridges are awesome? So hard for both sides. The framework that I just spoke about is 100% your bridge to the next level. The question is, are you going to do something about it? Are you going to do something about it? Let me leave you with this. I know, I don't want to go either. I keep it tight. Let me leave you with this. I like data. Being a contradiction, I love heart and sweetness and empathy and kindness, and I like math, right? Let me give you a math that will change your life if you actually internalize it like I did as a young child. The current scientific odds that are accepted by the best scientists in the world around actually being born is 400 trillion to 1. Let me just say it slowly. The likelihood that you're sitting in this audience and actually became a human being is 400 trillion to 1. Literally, your mom could have got up for another glass of wine. I implore you to live like that, to change your perspective on the ridiculous miracle that it is that we're actually people. But you're not. You are the most remarkable species